Support your channel even things in managing moderation. Oh God. Um, where should I start? Let's start with me eating too much pineapples. See? Look at the pineapple did to my eyes. Oh my God. Wow. Sugar. Pineapple is sugar. What do you do when you ingest too much sugar? You drink water. Like right now, my toes are numb. They're completely numb, especially my left foot. But the radical king. Who is king? At this point in 2023, everybody and their mama and their granny and their great granny, all of them, everybody should know who King is because King died and he got murdered in 68, 1968. It's 2023. King was and still is a revolutionist, and he basically sacrificed his life so you and I, just like how Jesus sacrificed his life for peace, that's what King is. King is a man of virtue, a man that believes in the elimination of poverty. He's also a man that believes that racism should not be here. It should not. Racism shouldn't even be. It shouldn't even be in the vocabularies. It shouldn't even be in our vocabularies, but it is. Um, I'm on my lunch break. I'm tired, but I'm still gonna go through with this for some reason. I think for some reason, it's time for me to wake up and do what I came to earth to do, like to execute some of my purpose, in hopes that the philosophy of hate is done and people are moving forward with the philosophy of love. And that's what I'm about. I'm going through anxiety and depression, but anyways, I still feel the need to address this problem, this ongoing problem of racism, hate, and any kind of conspiracy that there is out there to tie into racism, segregation, and all that. It's like telling you that you just gonna sit there and waste your time. You wasting your time talking because ain't nobody listening. That's not the point. The point is I spoke, okay, and that's about it. Um, I'm reading the book that I just showed you, and I go inside the book and I kind of dissect the book in my own little way. I look at vocabularies that I don't really understand, which this book is pretty much, the vocabulary is basic and it's easy to follow and it's easy to read. It's just a big book. It looks big, but there are bigger books out there. Okay. I'm gonna go straight into the book because my lunch break is getting ready to be expired. Now, I first started off by asking who is king, and I'm gonna answer that question briefly. King, to me, is, basically a mirror of Jesus himself. He might not have been able to perform miracles like Jesus have, but he was able to bring people together, like the boycott. He was able to bring communities together, people from different background, different culture, different ethnicity. King wasn't really somebody that was focusing on the African American culture, but he was focusing morely on the culture of poverty. You know what I mean? And segregation and racism and all that. That's who King was. He was a non-violent revolutionist. And he gave up his weapon, the one weapon that he had, he gave that up because I think he had a conversation with himself, and he just, even though he knew that it was going to cost him his life, he he just didn't want to do, he didn't want to have nothing to do with violence. You know what I mean? Even though violence was being imposed on him. All right. Remember, I'm sleepy, but I still got to take care of business, whether I'm sleepy or not. Yesterday, I discussed um, a lot of things. Some of King's witnesses were regular people. One guy was blind. He got dragged by the bus driver. He got lodged in the door, and the driver didn't get charged for that. It's so many. It's so many. One got murdered because he paid a dime to get on the bus, and he wanted to get in the bus through the front door, but the driver wanted him to go through the back, and he like, nah, I'm not going through no back. Like I just give me back my dime, and he said I'll walk or I'll figure out how to get from point A to point B. So the driver refused to give him his money, which was a dime at the time. The driver refused to give him his dime back, and the police was called. When the police came to the scene, the not the the customer, I should say, because he's the customer at the time, he was murdered by the officer, and the officer was not charged for his death. Okay, all right. The stories continues. Mrs. Sadie Brooks testified that she heard a Negro passenger threatened because he did not have the correct change. The driver whipped out a pistol and drove the bus off. So that guy right there. Mrs. Della Perkins described being called an ugly black ape by a driver. Judge Carter found him guilty. Him who? That's King. Now we talking about King. Those were some of his witnesses that he brought into the courtroom. Judge Carter found him guilty, and he had to pay a $500 fine or 386 days of hard labor. That's King. He said he left the courtroom smiling. He was smiling because King already knew that God had chose him to complete this mission, and these people, he knew that he messed up. Because remember, the day when he was murdered, that's the day when he was going to preach the ceremony. Why is America going to hell? That was the ceremony that he was getting ready to preach when they got rid of him. Okay, so King already knew all the stuff that happened to King. King knew that it was gonna happen. He knew that he had to remain nonviolent. That was ordered and direction from God. You know what I mean? He said he left the discriminated. Um, he said he left the courtroom smiling. He basically was discriminated against for speaking up against injustice and nonviolent protest. He thought what happened to one happened to all. So I always say that it's like my life is complicated right now. And it has nothing to do with me. Some of it is by my choices. Like I should have made some better choices and probably opening up my legs to the wrong person. Or you know what I mean? Those are choices that I should have made. But you know when you start a relationship with somebody, you you think that is gonna work. So you of course it's like, yeah, I wanna have your baby, and then you get pregnant, and then next thing you know, the relationship ain't working out. What you gonna do? You not. I'm not gonna stop my life because one of my relationships don't work out. I'm gonna pause my life, reflect on myself, figure out a way of how I'm gonna move from point A to point B as of the day of the incident, and try to see how I can fix my life and make sure that I don't fall into the same trap. There is something amazing. There is amazing power in unity. So those was King's word. This is another quote. They were not aware that they were dealing with Negroes who had been freed from fear. See, and I can't wait to be free from my anxiety. I'm telling you, because once I'm free from fear, because anxiety is fear. Once I am free from fear, it's a complete wrap. It's a complete wrap. You know what I mean? Okay. His family, no. Okay. Every effort to dismantle his movement only made the movement stronger because the opposers were now dealing with the new unfaithful black people. Okay. Carter charged all Negro living in Montgomery County for the illegal assembling to boycott the Montgomery Bus Company. So every yeah, oh, every black person was charged for the boycott in Montgomery. That's what Judge Carter did. His family began to go through emotional abuse, being afraid and always crying, just as I am afraid and always crying about poverty and other people. I should say evil people. I'm afraid of evil people. And there's so many evil people running this world. It's like you're afraid of everything, basically. His brother became ill, and his mother was bedridden after the bombing. So they was doing too much stuff to King, man. They live like Christ, knowing that you cannot save all but touch a few. Just remember, Jesus said, very truly, I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these because I am going to the Father. That's John 14, verse 12. Um, like our ancestors, I don't know if they pick up the slacks where Jesus probably would have filled in, but they contributed a great deal to poverty and the development of this whole entire nation, basically. God plus anything equals everything. One of the reasons why I don't quit is because quitting can become dangerous and it could be habitual. So I might feel like I'm going through a rough time today and I quit. If I quit today, what my tomorrow is going to look like? It's gonna be a hot mess. So it's like quitting is not really something that I could do. Children don't know why boys learn. Whatever is going on is not gonna last for long. I mean, it looks like eternal, you know, But all that stuff is not gonna last for long. Yeah, so I'm done with this live. And that's about it. I'll be back because trust me, I have this whole book to go through. These are things that I read from the book and I wrote down. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna go and take me like a probably a 10-minute nap before I go back to work because I ate three big slices of pineapple, and look what it does to my eyes. They gonna be thinking like, is she smoking something? No, I'm not. I'm just the pineapple did a number on me. I'm diabetic. Anyways, gotta go. Bye.